Hey everybody, it's Ben in beta, and the HoverAir X1 Pro Max finally arrived last week, and I've been able to put it through a few paces early on. There's so much to cover with the HoverAir X1 Pro Max that I'm dividing this into 3 separate videos. In this video, I just want to cover what comes with the Pro Max, the different shooting modes, and my initial impressions. I'll cover the beacon and some of our accessories in the second one, and in the third video, I'll cover how the Pro Max compares to the DJI Neo. Well, I'll be doing a lot more testing with this drone, so there'll be more videos on the HoverAir X1 Pro Max. And I'd love you to leave comments below for anything that you think you would like to know more about that I don't cover in this video. What I really want to focus on today though is this little guy, the HoverAir X1 Pro Max. So in their lineup, they have the HoverAir X1, which is the original drone, the least expensive. Then they have the Pro, and then they have the Pro Max, which is this one here. Couple of things when you're shopping, if you see the gold battery on the drone, that generally delineates it's the Max. However, the Pro batteries do work with the Max and vice versa, so that doesn't matter too much. And if you're wondering what comes with it, you get your drone, you get their new proprietary plastic that they've created, this polymer, and you're supposed to try to tear it apart and see if you can break this, and you really can't. So this is what all these wing pieces are made out of and what the drone's made out of in general. Very strong material, so something to kind of play around with there. You're gonna get your instruction booklet and how to install the app, all that kind of stuff. You're gonna get a charging cable, and you're gonna get a bag for it as well. That's what comes in this really nice box right here, and also the drone. The drone comes with 1 battery, and you can order additional ones. I have 1 additional one here, and again, this is the Pro battery, but it doesn't matter, they work for both. It's the same amount of flight time. I also picked up a charger with this, and I decided to pick up the beacon. I have not picked up the joysticks yet, but I do plan on doing that in the future. I did have an issue with this extra battery. There was a free battery that they were giving away when you ordered them. And this one, for whatever reason, doesn't charge at all. So they're gonna send me a new one. So HoverAir support's been pretty good, and they've been definitely inundated with lots of different things as this just launched, but they are sending me a new battery, so that'll be nice. And then I'll have the second battery. So let's just talk about battery life really quick and get that out of the way. It's like 15 minutes, something like that. I live at about 6,000 feet of elevation, and the battery's actually lasted about what it says it's going to, even here. And that's not the case with the DJI Neo, which I bought and returned. That battery at elevation only lasted like 5 minutes, and that was all I could get out of it. So far I've actually been pretty impressed with the battery. There's a couple of things that are different between the Pro and the Pro Max. One is this has more sensors in the back for when it's taking video and flying backwards, so it doesn't fly into things. The Pro still has the ability to sense things behind it, so it's just not as good as this one is. The big differences are really in the camera, and that's gonna be that this has a bigger sensor in it. It's an 8K camera, and it's capable of HDR video, which the Pro is not. The Pro is a 4K camera, non-HDR, and has a smaller sensor. Those are the big differences between the two. I think most people are gonna be really happy getting the Pro. The big reason I went with the Pro Max is I really wanted the HDR video because it's easier for me when I'm editing my video as I shoot everything in HDR, and I don't have to color correct something that's not HDR. Not that it's hard, I just wanted that for that feature specifically, and the bigger sensor is nice too. Beyond that, I'm not sure for most people that they would be worth it. 8K is not something I'm gonna be shooting anytime soon, so maybe in the future, I might use that, but that's a feature I wasn't all that interested in, but it can shoot 8K video. So I think that's all the things I got with the HoverAir X1 Pro Max. Very lightweight, very easy to pocket. The one thing I do wish that pretty much everybody has said is I wish there was a gimbal protector, especially when you're not using it, just to make sure things are nice and safe, but they don't include one. But you can see here that I've actually had a little damage to mine because I did crash it once and it happened to land pretty much right in the front of the drone, which is unfortunate. But the other cool thing about this drone is it's pretty indestructible. Everything still works, it flies perfectly, the video still looks really good, it's just got a couple scuff marks. So the material they're using for this is really robust, and that's good to know. One of the big differences between this and the Neo is that you can actually put an SD card in here and store your video to the SD card, which you couldn't do with the Neo. You always had to transfer it from the drone. So that's kind of a nice, and there's also 64 gigabytes of storage on board if you don't want to put a card in there. All right, so turning it on, super easy. You're just going to simply long press on the power button here, and it turns on. And you can run it while it's on. If you want to like access all the stuff with your app or whatever, you can leave it in this folded up mode, it's fine, or you can unfold it. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
Current mode, hover.
It is very loud. My wife doesn't love that, but at least you know what mode it's in. So then you have your mode buttons, and I'll show this a little bit more later on, but basically you can navigate between them by pressing the left or right side of this multifunction button here.
Zoom out, follow, orbit, bird eye, Dolly Track, hover.
Back to hover, and then there's a manual mode as well if you have this hooked up either to the app or if you're using the beacon or the beacon and the joysticks together. So you can actually change the mode. So in Dolly Track mode, this is mid and it's a flat profile. So if I long press this button here, so now I can flip through these different settings. So close, far, mid, whatever, and set that without ever taking an app out or anything like that. So you can completely use this drone using the automatic modes without any app or the beacon or anything like that, which is pretty cool. And that's how you change those things. So let's talk about the app. It connects super quick. And that tells you that it's connected. And now I just have to hit my hover button here and I can see I have hover settings and then my album. So if I click on this, there I don't think is going to be anything on here right now because I think I deleted it all. If I click on that button, I'm going to be able to connect to the Wi-Fi on my hover so that I can see what's on the SD card or on the internal storage. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to connect, but it's pretty easy to do. And I'm trying to do this upside down, which is never easy. This will allow you to see what's on your SD card, both internal and external, and be able to transfer that video directly to your device, which is nice. So right now, I don't have any videos on here. I just cleared this off a little bit ago, but that's where they would appear. And otherwise, we've got the app settings, and you can see for each of these settings, there are quite a few things. So if I click zoom out, I've got my distance, my altitude, whether I want target tracking on or not, if the rear collision sensors are on or off. And again, some of the modes don't have the rear collision sensor, so this is why it's important to be able to look through this. So I highly recommend the first time you get this drone or any drone like this, or any drone for that matter, take it out somewhere safe and play with all the different modes where it's not gonna crash into anything and take your time learning how to use it. I went a little too crazy and tried to record some stuff right away, but I didn't follow that advice and I crashed the drone right away when I really didn't need to. If I had gone through all the settings and really looked at them properly, I would have known that orbit didn't have the rear active collision detection turned on. Then you got your shooting mode, video, so on and so forth. I put mine in HDR, but you don't have to. There's a vertical shooting mode if you want to shoot that for like social media, that kind of thing. And then the frame rates. So frame rate wise on the ProMax, you can do 30, 50, and 60. So 30 and 60 here in the US. And then if you want to add more flight modes to this right now, you can as well. So basically you can use these to customize what's available to you on the drone. And then again, if you have the ND filters, you can optimize that. And then there's a sound recording piece. So if you're going to use the app to record your voice, you want to make sure that this is turned on. And there are two settings here. There is normal and extreme. And it basically tells you when you select it what it's going to do. So that's basically how this works. It gives you all the information you need. And then you also have the smart preview button, which then connects. And now you can see the camera that we're recording this with right now. If you turn it sideways, you'll get a much bigger preview. And if you switch to manual mode, you'll actually get sticks on here so you can control the aircraft when it's flying, which is pretty cool. And then you have access to quick settings as well. So that's a quick tour of the app. You'll see a little bit more of that when we're flying here in a little bit. It works on iOS and Android. If you have iOS, DJI and HoverAir are both available on the app stores, not a problem. However, if you have an Android phone, it's not available in the Play Store. You have to sideload it. And if you don't remember to uncheck the unknown sources button, that could be a problem. So anytime you want an update, you also have to go back to the DJI store and sideload it. Again, not the most secure thing. Let's head outside and just see how it works and what the different modes do. So we're just going to show you how this works outside, some of the different flight modes that this drone has, and kind of what the app looks like in use. It has lots of different modes. Let's fire this up and see how it works. So first, I'm just going to unfold it. Long press the power button, the drone will turn on. So let's just show you how this works without using the app. We'll do a zoom out here. So this is 3 meter high, and all I'm gonna do is put the drone in front of me, make sure it's facing me, hit this button one time, that's all I gotta do, and it's just a short press to get it to start.
3 meters, zoom out.
And what this is actually gonna do is it's gonna give me the zoom out video, and then it's gonna take another video as it zooms back in as well. And now to land, all I gotta do is place my hand underneath the drone and it comes right down. So pretty simple, pretty easy. Let's try another mode now. So let's go to the orbit mode. This is the one that I had trouble with that I crashed it on. So in orbit mode, apparently the rear sensors are not active. So I have it set right now at high, 180 degrees, and you have 15 meters, 10 meters, 6 meters, 4 meters. We'll do 720 with the orbit on high. You can do 1080 as well. All right, here we go.
4 meters. Orbit.
And it's flying all the way around us right now. So there's 1 revolution. And here's the 2nd revolution. And then it should come back to me as well, which is doing. All right, so now that we saw that, let's go ahead and talk about the app features. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect to the HoverAir Pro Max. So there's a smart preview, there's also manual controls here, and I will go ahead and record my screen. All right, so the other thing that I have set inside here right now is with the settings, once you're connected and it is in flight mode, you can then change all the settings we just talked about for hover, zoom out, follow, so on and so forth, to make it do what you want. We're gonna do a follow here. We have it in far, and here we can see that the shooting mode is video, shooting mode is normal, and actually we want HDR in this case. We can choose the vertical shooting, but we're not gonna do that today. So we're gonna continue, and you can also do it for only 30 seconds if you want. And then we can switch it to follow mode in the app. Also, one of the other settings that I have set currently is the sound recording. We'll start with extreme and see how that works. And this is gonna record directly from my phone. So let's see how that works. Switching to smart preview here.
Follow.
And so this should be recording my voice as well. So you should be able to see me kind of walking here and still be able to hear what I'm doing and saying. And right over there is Pikes Peak. That's the big white mountain right there. You want to take a look at that? And then I can turn around this way and I can go underneath it. And unfortunately that lost it. So let's just take a look and see if it'll get me back there. And it has found me again. All right. So again, we'll see how good it removes the audio at the extreme. I'm not sure what it's gonna be like, but that's what we're doing there. And then the other thing that can happen is I can take over with manual control at this point. And now I can fly it myself. And so I have my different controls here to be able to move it forward, back, turn it. I can go up, I can go down. And it does fly pretty fast actually too, even with the manual controls. And now we'll come back this way. And then I can also return and land it from here too. So I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit. And now I can go and grab it. So that's kind of how the app works. And you know, it does work pretty well. You can also move the gimbal up and down here if I need to. Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed with how well that controls. I would like to see when you're trying to do subjects that you're actually able to choose what you're looking for, but you can also switch it from video to photo mode from here. But let's go ahead and switch this into the Dolly Track mode just to show you what that looks like. So I currently have this as mid distance. It's in a flat shot, which is fine. So we'll see what that looks like. And this one does have the rear collision on. So zoom out, rear collision is on. Follow, it is not on. which kind of makes sense. Orbit, it is not on, but you can change the directions and the target tracking and so on and so forth. You can turn off the target tracking if you just want it to go around a spot. Bird's eye also doesn't have those on. Lots of different options in the application, which makes it really easy to change, which is cool. All right, so we are in Dolly Track now. We're going to switch to that.
Dolly Track.
With the app open, it should record. So I'm going to go ahead back into Smart Preview here quick. And you can see what Dolly Track looks like.
Middle. Dolly Track.
And again, it should be getting rid of a lot of the noise from the drone, hopefully. But Dolly Track allows me to walk. And it stays in front of me. So now I'm having a conversation and, talking about how well this drone works. And it works quite well. I'm actually genuinely impressed with it. So far, so good. Also, battery life is really pretty good here at elevation. So what happens if I turn around here? Well, it's just going to follow me now. So it's not really trying to get in front of me or anything like that. It's just following. But if I decided to turn around again, let's see what happens. It's now going to continue to be in dolly mode. So we're still at 63% battery. And then there are a couple other modes. Hover was great for my detailing videos. It stays in one spot and just tracks a subject. So I like it for that. And it worked really well for those videos. The next mode that's kind of cool is the Sidetrack mode. And this one is something you got to be careful with to make sure that you don't accidentally run something into a tree or an object because it doesn't have side sensors. Then you also have the bird's eye view, and this can be done with a twist, which I prefer and I think looks pretty good. And then lastly, you just have your traditional follow mode, and the X1 Pro and the X1 Pro Max from HoverAir can do all of these modes. It's just that the Pro and the Pro Max have a little bit better video quality and some extra sensors, which make them a little bit more preferable for what I do for video. One other huge feature of the HoverAir X1 Pro and the Pro Max is a new feature called Omniterrain that the X1 did not have. What this does is it allows the drone to fly over water, over snow, and over cliffs. I've only done a little testing in snow so far, and it worked just fine, but I am planning to do more testing with the Omniterrain in the future just to see how that works. Some people have had issues with that. It did work really well for me in the snow, so I'm assuming it's going to continue to work really well in the future. But that is one of the big features that you get with the Pro and the Pro Max that you do not get with the X1, and it's part of the hefty price tag. Probably in the end it is a worthwhile feature, but we'll see in future videos. So hopefully that was helpful in terms of the different modes and what you can do with the drone. And so far I'm really impressed. The picture quality is quite good. So anyway, that was what it's like to fly it outside and the different modes. All right, so hopefully you saw that it flies very well. It's pretty easy to control, and the microphones are working really good when you record using your phone. Now, when you record the phone, it's really great because it removes all the propeller noise. And I was really impressed with that, to be honest with you. Carrying the phone around worked pretty well. So even though I don't have the joysticks, it is easier to control with the phone if you want to use it that way. So what are my opinions of this? Let's start with the not so good. In this clip right here, I should be recording my voice, but you're actually not hearing any of that because you can't record your voice unless you're in preview mode, apparently. The second thing is the Android app has had some problems connecting to the drone properly. It'll connect sometimes and not others. I haven't had that problem with the iOS app on my iPad, but with the Android app, the connection doesn't always work. Sometimes I have to get off the Wi-Fi that I'm on currently, and then it'll connect a little bit better, but there are some problems that can be worked out. That's mostly software. Hopefully that'll get fixed. Where it is telling me I need an update, but when you click the button, it just says null. That's also a software thing and should be fixed in the future, but just a few bugs with the Android app. And I haven't really had that same experience with the iOS app so far, so that's good for you who are on iOS. Next, I'm going to show you a clip where everything was working just fine, and then it just stopped recording and wanted to land for some reason. And I'm not sure why that happened. It was really windy that day. That could be it, but that happened a couple times. So just a few bugs to work out, but those are really the only negative things so far that I can say about the drone. Sometimes we have water in this pond next to us, and sometimes we don't. So we would be able to fly over this if we wanted to. That was pretty cool how it went back in front of me there. But I haven't been able to try the Omniterrain mode yet, but it is one of the major reasons why I'd want to. And you can see how it just kind of cut out there for no reason. So those are some of the problems I've run into so far, but again, I've been pretty happy overall. Lots of this is just software. The only thing I don't love about the Hover is that it seems like you kind of have to gamify how you can unlock modes, and I'm not in love with that. I think it's nice to just be able to try each mode and not have to worry about that. It is really meant to try to help people, and that's fine. The HoverAir X1 Pro is $499, so $500, and the Pro Max, this one is $700. And then they have the combos for these, and the combos keep adding price, more batteries, more features. Some of them come with the joystick and the beacons. So there's lots of different options with this one. So I'm really happy that I purchased this. This is probably the right drone for me. It might also mean I might not need to have this Skydio drone or use it much anymore. I still need to test this out in the woods and see how it goes. The one thing I wish it could do and might do in the future is be able to track vehicles. That would be nice. I use this drone mostly for doing overlanding videos, that kind of thing. So it's nice to be able to track vehicles. They said they're gonna add that in the future, but you shouldn't buy something based upon what's gonna happen in the future because it may not ever get added. Now I'm just scratching the surface with the testing. I still need the joysticks and I wanna hook up the phone and everything to that. And there's a bunch of other things here that I haven't tried yet with the HoverAir, and I'm excited to do that. In the next video, we're gonna be testing some of the accessories, including the beacon. We're gonna see how that works for voice recording, as well as how you can fly with the beacon. We'll also check out the charger and how it charges batteries. Then there'll be one more video where I compare the Hover to the DJI Neo and just help you decide which drone is right for you. And I'll have more update videos on this drone as I use it in more different use cases and with new software updates, that kind of thing too. But basically, as far as using it goes, very simple, very easy, very compact, very small. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'll be doing further testing with it. And again, leave comments if you have questions or you want me to try something else out to see how it works. Remember, it takes a lot of time and energy to make these videos, especially these types of ones where we're stitching all kinds of different things together, audio, video, 3 different streams of audio and video in some cases. So please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. Share this with anybody who's interested in maybe picking up a drone of some type. As far as camera drones go, I think this is a really good one, but the value is really all up to you. This was worth it for me. So if you live at elevation, you like higher quality video, you want to do 8K someday, you want this little beacon to control things, that kind of stuff, then you want to go the HoverAir route. But I think the Pro is probably plenty for most people. Only if you want HDR, 8K, extra sensors, that kind of thing, would you want to bump up to this one. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.